Every day, thousands of dogs sit in concrete runs, and they wait. They watch shadows pass by the chain link, tracking every movement in the corridor for a sign of human connection. We often view these buildings as permanent safe havens, places where a lost pet can rest for months or years until a family finally arrives. But intake is simply the first stage of a logistical process. Beneath the surface of the shelter system, there are strict, unspoken limits on how long that safety actually lasts. This is a capacity limit. It represents the absolute maximum number of physical cages a building has. As new arrivals continue to spike daily, they quickly collide with that fixed horizontal line. Because two objects cannot occupy the same space, every new dog brought in above that limit requires a cage to be cleared. When adoptions slow down, the oldest records at the bottom are forced out of the system to make room. Survival is dictated by building occupancy. In this environment, factors like a dog's health or temperament are often secondary to the simple question of how many cages remain empty at the end of the day. In a system driven by this level of demand, time is the only currency these animals have, and they spend it every second they sit behind those bars. During the first few days, a dog typically waits at the very front of the kennel. Their energy is high, and they engage with every volunteer who walks by. They wag their tails at the sound of approaching footsteps, only to watch the shadow pass the cage without stopping. Weeks of this cycle, combined with the constant noise of a warehouse, lead to kennel stress. It is a state of severe psychological decline caused by prolonged confinement. You see it in the dogs who spin in circles, those who bark desperately at the walls, or the ones who withdraw entirely, pressing themselves against the back of the cage. The trauma of the wait makes these animals appear less attractive to the families walking the aisles, often causing potential adopters to move on to the next row. The shelter environment itself begins to change them. The longer a healthy dog is forced to wait, the more likely they are to be labeled as unadoptable. On the kennel door, the simple intake card becomes a timer. The date listed in the corner marks exactly how many days of survival have already been used. Once the state-mandated holding period expires, a dog transitions to the at-risk list. At this stage, their presence in the building is no longer guaranteed. As the facility hits maximum capacity, the atmosphere shifts. The noise increases, and the staff is forced to confront the reality of the numbers. Shelter workers spend these hours calling rescue networks and searching for emergency fosters, trying to find any possible way to clear a few square feet of space. When those options are exhausted and a new stray arrives at the intake desk, the animal with the longest tenure is typically selected for euthanasia. The conveyor belt reaches its end when the physical boundaries of the building are reached. It is a decision dictated by a lack of empty cages. In the final stage of the wait, the energy is gone. All that is left is a slow, tired blink. Many of these dogs are young, social, and capable of living full lives in a home. Their time ends simply because the math of the system caught up with them. The deadline has arrived. The facility is full, and there are no more extensions to grant. While we hope for a happy ending for every animal, the reality of overcrowding means that for some, there is no tomorrow. Ticking stops abruptly, dead silence for 3 seconds. For those who were not chosen, the wait is over. Some are still waiting. Others ran out of time. Adopt is the only way to intervene and stop the clock. Adopt, don't wait.